Right, so I just had a break in the filming there because this bee's just come straight down to the flowers. Hello and welcome back, and it's been a glorious day. I've got an hour to spare to start planting up in the greenhouse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these out the way. These will definitely get planted up tomorrow morning. I've got another hour to spare there, and they're getting some pods on, but I'll go through those later on. Right, let's just see if I can get these out the way. I've just done the thumbnail, so I thought I'd have them in the shot. Hopefully they're secure there. Right, so I watch quite a lot of YouTube, and one of the things I really enjoy watching is the single seed potato challenge run by Steve at Digwell Green Fingers. And you learn so much. They go to the nth degree to try and get as many potatoes out of one seed potato. You know, they cut them in half and slice them, dice them, and take cuttings. And it's really interesting to see. And one of the things I'm going to take from it is I see a lot of people, you know, slicing it and then starting them off in small pots. And that's what I'm going to do with these. We've got a frost in, I think it's next week. We've got a couple of light frosts predicted, but that could be the last ones. So if I start these off in these small little pots, that means I can take these in without having them to bring in a 15, 20 or 25 litre or protect those size of pots. I don't want to be lugging them about. But if I start off 6 of them, I've got 10. Some are really small. I'm going to hold off for another 2 weeks before starting those. But if I do, that's the last one, if I do 6 in these 1.4 litre tubs, I can just then carry those in. And when they get to around about there, then I can start to pot them into a 15 litre or 20 litre tub. I may even do the 30 litres. I'm just going to see. What I normally do on the potatoes, now this is the first time I've done earlies, so this is normally what I do for the second earlies or main crop. Well, for second earlies, I count the chits. Now this one's got quite a lot on there. So I don't know how many are actually going to come to fruition. That's the right word. So I count the chits, and what I do is 2 litres for every chit for a second early. But I've never done it first early before. So it'd be nice to see how many of these chits actually come up. Like I say, I'll wait till they're around about that size, and then I'll put them into a bigger pot. So all I've got is, what was that, about an inch, about up to there, 1.5 inches of compost. And I was just going to plonk those in. Right, there you go. I'm not going to put any feed in there. I'm just going to see how they come up. It's quite moist anyway, the compost, and just leave them in here. And that way they get some really good light, especially these days at the moment. You know, if we've got another couple of weeks of this sunshine, that'd be great. Right, so like I say, I'm only going to do 6. Some of them, I've got some real huge chits on them already. We'll see how we go. I couldn't hold off any longer with these. I've got a couple of smaller ones that I'm going to do. So I may do 2 of these pots, you know, these size, going into a 15 litre, or I may do 3 in a 20 litre. I say, oh, that's actually quite a big one. Now I'm going to hold off on these for another 2 weeks. I'm going to do exactly the same for those. And if this starts to work for me, I may use exactly the same method next year, but I may also do it for the second earlies as well. It's so nice to get the potatoes started. We are really enjoying our potatoes now. We have quite a lot of the tatty scones. If you want the recipe, we do for 2 people, it's 400 grams of boiled potatoes, 100 grams of plain flour, 20 to 25 grams of butter, and we have a tablespoon and a half of rosemary and also of thyme. And it basically, you just mix that all together. It's these butter and the potatoes first, and then you mix in the flour, and yeah, you just make small little round ball patties and just fry them off. We dry fry them, and that's a great alternative for instead of bread, you know, for when you're having stew, right? So like I say, also on the single seed potato, do look it up. Usually if you just do single seed potato challenge, so SSPC 25, and have a look at last year's and all the extreme things that people did just to grow potatoes. Right, so I'm doing bolt hardy next. Now what I said in the last video is I was going to do it in the 9cm pots. So I've got an inch clearance of just normal compost in there, and then I've got my seed compost mixture on top. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to sow the seeds directly on top of that. This is just a bit of a trial. I've done them in the container wires before and I didn't get good germination, and that was down to my seed mix. But this time I'm taking no chances. I'm going heavily sowing here. So what do you do with your beetroot seeds? Because I have actually seen recommendations of soaking them in warm water before sowing them, just for half an hour. I think that was on the Sarah Raven site a couple of years back. So I'm going to do, what am I going to do, about 8 in there. And I could get a lot more than that, because there are multi seeds, so you can get more than just one coming up. How many, I've been talking, how many have I got in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for good luck. And then I'm just going to sprinkle on a bit more of the potting mix. So hopefully it's around about, what is it, a centimetre and a half depth. And that's what I'm going to do for all of them on the beetroots. Right, well, while I'm in a bit of a sowing mood, I'm going to be doing the leeks as well, the kohlrabi, the coriander, the lettuces and the Chinese cabbage. So I'll bring you back once I finish these off. And like I say, it's going to be really nice with the sun on my back and just sowing away. Spring is here. Right, so it was really nice yesterday to start off the kohlrabi. Now that's going to take 4 to 6 weeks before it's ready to go into this bed. I'm going to sow it with either radishes or turnips in here. So this bed is getting left empty at the moment. So what I'm going to do is make use of the space, and that's with radishes. It probably is the forgotten harvest. We don't seem to use the beds. We wait for the kohlrabi till it's ready. We sow it in March and then we plant it out mid-April. Well, in that time, I can get a harvest of, I've got 11 rows here, of French breakfast, white icicle and hailstone. 3,000 seeds there. I've got even a bigger packet of the French breakfast. So I'm going to use up this bed with something that I can either ferment, pickle or roast and have them in stir fries. I looked it up last night. I mean, I know this is a ginger, but I'm just using the size of the jar. So for that size of jar for pickled radishes, it's £2.50 or £3 in the shops. Now I could get what, say 20, and I've got 11 rows. I could get a fair amount of radishes, which, like I say, I can use them for fermenting or pickling or roasting. So it is probably one of the forgotten harvests that you could do, and especially this time when you've got beds left dormant, which is similar to this one. I haven't even planned this one. This one's planned. It's going to be radishes, then kohlrabi and more radishes or turnips. And then when they're ready, it's going to be, the leeks are going to go in there. So this bed is now planned. I'm quite excited to see how this goes. 4 to 6 weeks to get a big harvest of radishes when we don't get much out of the garden in mid-April to late April. Right, I'm going to start sowing these. I'm going to do alternative rows, hailstone, French breakfast and white icicle. It's finally time to get these rat-tailed radishes in. Now, these really do have pretty flowers. There's certainly something going to be growing again. I did grow them at the wrong time. I started them off, I think it was September time or late August. But with my hand pollination and occasionally putting them out, we have got pods that are forming. So I'm really pleased about that. I'm really excited to try these because there's so many flowers and there's still more coming out that I'm going to get quite a big harvest off them. Hopefully, and fingers crossed. Now they're supposed to get to around about that size. So we'll see how we go with those. Again, that's something else I'm going to be using, pickles, fermentation, but also as an alternative for a French bean, especially this early on. Now you're not supposed to sow them until April time, so I really am getting a bit of a bonus crop here. And what's nice is the difference of the flowers. I'll probably do a close-up a little bit later on, but you got white as well as the pinky purple ones. So these are going to be really nice, and when I do start sowing them in April, the plants will actually maybe go out into the actual flower beds. I don't know yet, because they're supposed to get to about 3 foot in diameter. So we'll see how we go with those, whether they actually go into the raised beds or into the flower beds. But they certainly are pretty enough to go into the flower beds. Right, that's a lot of waffle. I'm just glad to actually get these sown. I'm doing them really tight because I'm just going to use up this space. Right, so I just had a break in the filming there because this bee's just come straight down to the flowers. So that really is encouraging, and it really is having a good old feed there. So that's encouraging that I'm bringing in wildlife into the garden. And now I've got all the hellebores and the crocuses, which should also draw in the bees, but I'm now drawing in the bees with these flowers. Yeah, that's really nice to see, that is. I'm pleased with that. Plus they get pollinated, so that's more pods for me. Bee's still here. It's just been here all the time while I've been planting up. It's really having a good feast, and it's really nice to see not only the bee but this colour in March, to have this. It's just great. I'm really pleased I took a chance and had a go at these so early on last year. Well, so late on last year. Right, so what I'm going to do next is, this is going to be my beetroot bed. So again, I only did the bolt hardy yesterday, so I've got probably about another 4 or 6 weeks before they come out. So again, I'm going to be doing rows of the radishes. Make the most of this space, and it's the same here with where these spinaches are. I may put a few radishes in there as well. And there's still more to plant up. This is a real nice day to be doing this, especially in this sunshine. Right, so next up is the Oscar purple spinaches to go in. And these have got some real nice big leaves on them, as they are ones that have been outside, so hopefully these will catch up a little bit later on. I can get a bit more of a continuous crop over the next couple of weeks. That bee's back again, isn't it? Where are you going now? So then what I'm going to do with these 3 beds that again are empty, the peas are going to go up against the fence, but at the front the onions, Bedfordshire Champion, White Star and what's left of the Red Flow are going to go at the front, but then they're going to get potted out maybe another 6 weeks, So again, I can put the hailstone, which I think is going to be the quickest of the radishes, in front of these beds, in front of the peas. So again, using up that space. But first, I still need to plant up these. I'm back here again. And then I've got these golden, I think it's sunset chard, and they're going to go at the back here, in front or in the middle of where the kales are. And then I'm going to have brassicas at each end of the beds on there. And again, I probably will do, I think probably one bed of the icicle in front, in between the thymes, and one of the French breakfast as well. Just making up the space, or using up the space as much as I possibly can. Right, well, this is a lovely day to be potting on all of these. I'm just going to finish the video here so I can go and edit it. But like I always say, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again.